time to take a look into the future. Get your crystal balls out, and we'll see what's going to happen in the future.
Let's bring out the fortune teller from the Zelda game.
Yeah. We will be Aganaganaganaganaganagana, whatever his name was, and we'll hang out with the fortune teller who's like, I sense something.
Please, it was Agamemnon's brother.
It is video games. I thought no, he's Sasha Laharshalah's brother.
Oh, you're right. He's Sasha Laharshalah's brother. Yeah. Yes, you're correct.
I sense something in the West. It's new video games.
It's 2021.
It's the year 2021. Ah, yes. That's what we're going to talk about today. On this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA, it is episode 207. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I am Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
We're going to preview the 2021 slate of releases.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, obviously when we did this last year, no one had any clue that 2020 was going to be a disaster of a year.
A dumpster fire.
I'm pretty sure we're just still in March. Like, March has never ended.
It feels like that, honestly.
It's just March 9th, or not March 9th, but like March, the 9th iteration of March.
The 9th March.
Yeah. But now we're going to talk about 2021, which is essentially just going to be 2020-2
mm-hmm.
for a good foreseeable future.
Correct.
But, there's stuff going to come out, I guess. Maybe. Like, nothing's changed over the last, 9 months. So, some of this stuff is going to come out. Some of this stuff is going to get delayed further because we are still operating under a global pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget, guys, we're still under a pandemic.
Yeah, as much as everyone would like, not everyone, but a lot of people would like to tell you differently.
Correct. We are still under a pandemic. Please continue
true.
Social distancing and wearing your mask.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands a lot.
Just don't interact with people.
Don't be dumb.
If you don't have to.
Correct.
But yeah, we're gonna try and take this a little bit more positively.
Yeah, video games.
Talk about some fun stuff that potentially could come out next year.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's on the horizon.
And what's on the horizon, yes, correct. This Wikipedia page for 2021 video games says that the Tokyo Game Show is going to happen next year and return to its original physical format, which maybe. The Olympics are supposed to happen next year as well. Maybe.
I think it'll depend on these vaccines.
Yeah.
And
E3 might happen next year. Yeah.
E3 should just die.
Might happen is the key word there.
E3 should just die.
Supposedly we have hardware coming out next year. Like the Intellivision Amico coming out on April 15th, apparently.
Why?
Look, Tommy Tellerico's got to get his, apparently. And then also the Playdate might come out next year. That is the handheld console that has the crank on it. Which seems it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's neat.
Huh, okay.
Like, it's got a bunch of developers making original games for it and stuff, so
that's at least
pretty cool.
Neat and not a
cash grab.
Yeah.
Yes, you are not wrong. Let's dive into some of these games. Wikipedia currently has through May in terms of dated releases, and then a whole bunch of unscheduled releases, and then also some other stuff that is just completely unknown at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But let's begin with the January through March. These are that's stuff that's relatively close to coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Most notably, first off here is probably the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game. Coming out to the personal computer, the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and of course the Google Stadia.
Yeah. This game, it's crazy that it's coming back out. I'm devastated that it's not a physical release since...
Supposedly they're working on that.
Who is they?
Brian Lee O'Malley talked about it, saying, hey, we're going to try and work on getting a physical release, but it's most likely not going to come out day and date.
Okay, well...
So I would assume this is going to be probably something like a limited run game's physical
That
release type
that
thing.
makes total sense.
Yeah.
I'm
But
super hyped
yes,
for this.
a physical release for this game would be nice considering the what happened last time with this game.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like, there's a reason why it's a big deal that it's coming back out.
Yes, for those of you unaware, this game infamously was delisted for years and years after it came out on the 360 and PS3. Just completely unavailable to buy and all that sort of stuff, and now is just coming back out because sure, why not?
I'm so excited about this. I really really like this game. I hope that it holds up to be as good as it was back then. The Anamataguchi soundtrack is phenomenal. The art's
Yeah.
amazing. And I am definitely going to get it so that we can share play it and play togethers.
Yes. We should watch that movie at some point and talk about it on the internet.
We should. I love that movie.
I'm curious to see how well that movie holds up.
Yeah, I mean it's been what, a decade?
About. So yeah, it's a wild thing that game's coming out.
Mm-hmm. I'm hyped.
Following that, the next week on January the 20th, Hitman 3. That's coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Google Stadia as well. Look, you could just say Hitman 3 and that's it. I'm ready.
You're in.
I am in. That's all I need. Like Hitman 1 and 2 have been great, and I can't imagine that Hitman 3 is going to be like any different. So
yeah. I'm not into Hitman, but I'm excited for you.
yeah, those games are fun. You've watched me play some of those games before, and just marveled at how just bonkers they are.
That is correct. That happened.
So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Not a whole like bunch that's like super duper interesting outside of that in January. Obviously, I mean it's January, so like that's kind of how these sorts of things work.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought that said Boober Team, and I was like, excuse me, what?
Boober Team.
It says Bloober.
Yeah, the Medium's something. I remember seeing trailers for that. I don't remember what it is though. Other than it's a psychological horror game. I just remember seeing something about it at some point during one of those Microsoft events.
You play as Marianne, a medium who can travel into the spirit realm. Being able to inhabit both worlds aids puzzle solving. Her second.
Oh, I think. Oh yeah, I think the thing is like you can like be in like two different worlds at once or something like that.
That's what it looks like.
So I think I remember that looking interesting, but like
definitely looks interesting. But I'll have to actually remember if it actually comes out. Like,
well, it's a game we're not gonna be able to play because it's a current gen game, I should say.
Oh well, never mind then.
Yeah, maybe sometime down the road.
Maybe.
February. Let's see if there's anything interesting here. Ys 9's coming to PS4 apparently.
Oh wow. Okay.
Or another version of it. I don't know. I feel like Ys 9's had been out already, but who knows?
I've never been able to get into Ys, but I think that's just a thing.
They're putting out remastered versions of Neo on the PS5, which is a weird way to say that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're just like up-res or just kind of upgraded versions. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury comes to the Switch on February the 12th.
Yep.
For the Switch. So if you have not played Super Mario 3D World, that would be a thing to play, I guess.
Or if you're real interested in Bowser's Fury.
True. Persona 5 Strikers is finally coming out.
Sure is.
I think they officially announced that today.
Oh,
as
did
we're
they?
Recording this, yeah. That is February 23rd for PC, Switch, and PS4. The PC thing is actually interesting because it did not come out on PC in Japan.
Huh.
So it's an interesting little caveat to that.
Okay.
Anything else in February? Oh, Bravely Default 2. Coming out on February 26th for the Switch. Not to be confused with Bravely Second. The sequel to Bravely Default.
God, they really messed with their titling there.
They really did.
Terrible.
That seems about it for February in terms of like interesting things that we're into, at least.
Yeah.
March, Yakuza 7 comes out for PS5.
Play it if you can. If you haven't played it already and you have a PS5, you should play it.
Yeah. I forgot they're doing a Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake.
Why is that happening?
Someone at Ubisoft really wants people to play that game again. I remember that game being like real interesting back in 2003. I don't know how interesting it's going to be in 2021.
Right.
Nearly 20 years after the fact.
That's
like the whole
what I'm thinking too.
Like the whole like time manipulation stuff was like a really novel gimmick at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I would be curious to see how that held up, but like I never really played that game when it came out. I played like demos of it. That was my extent of knowledge of the Sands of Time. But I remember that game being really well received, so
It was.
Yeah.
I don't know about the remake, but I've literally not seen anything about this remake at all, so
I basically I kind of have the same thing where I knew it was happening and that was it. One of the Story of Seasons games, which I think is a remake of one of the old Harvest Moon games, is coming out on Switch on March 23rd. That's still a very weird situation.
Yeah, definitely a weird situation.
with that franchise. Of course, hotly contested 2021 Game of the Year contender coming out on March 24th for free. Free is the Love Live School Idol Festival After School Activity YY Home Meeting.
Yep.
For the PlayStation 4.
Yep.
This is like the first Love Live game to come out on a like
console,
non-mobile or non-arcade platform in like 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Love Live Vita games.
Oh wow!
So that's a fun, cool thing. I feel like this is going to be our place to preview this game and talk about it in depth. So they recently did like a big video about kind of like showing off the mechanics and everything, going into like what the game was and all that sort of stuff. Where they're like, it's free to play, comes with like 8 songs, 3 costumes when you download it. A lot of the game's going to be like DLC stuff where you buy songs, you can buy costumes. Although I think you can just like you can buy the song and then grind out for the materials you need to make the costumes. So you don't have to. But if you want to get the costumes immediately, you can just buy or purchase them.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that's a little bit easier on the wallet, let's say.
Yeah, but like still, it's gonna get pricey real quick.
Oh yeah. I'm not surprising Square Enix is going to want to get theirs for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gameplay wise, it is basically similar to how School Idol Festival arcade play, but they also have like different difficulties for this particular. Where there is like a kind of like a normal or mode where you can use just like 5 buttons, and then they all come out. The notes come out from the middle, and you play them like that. Or it has where you can play 9 notes at the same time.
Absolutely not.
Which is wild, because like I'm holding my PS4 controller. It uses all 4 shoulder buttons, and then up, down, and up, left, and down on the D-pad, and triangle, circle, square, triangle, circle, X, or something like that on the face buttons. But like the bottom button is, I think, interchangeable between one of the D-pad or the face buttons, depending on like I guess what your hand's doing at the time, which makes it I think a little bit easier to kind of understand. But that seems like it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, I will stick to the normal difficulty. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll try that once and be like, I'm good, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't think there's much in the line of story or anything, because I think like the arcade version doesn't have story really at all.
Right.
But like it has a good decent amount of songs in it at the moment, which I'm assuming they'll probably expand upon.
Right.
Because I think this just kind of goes off of like what the arcade games have, not like necessarily like what the other games particularly have. So I would assume eventually you would just get like more songs when they're like, let's make content for them and stuff like that. I think there's like you can make your own set list in the game if you want to like, play it like that. And then also like there's like this interesting like visual mode where you can like watch performances and like do like the weird like home release kind of thing where you can be like, I want to watch like just the group performance, or I want to focus in on this particular person. And then like you can also like just like move the camera around and like do shots like that if you want, and then like take photos at the same time, I think.
So it's kind of like a Love Live fan cam.
Essentially, yeah.
Interesting.
I think that's essentially kind of all like the gist of that game. Which again, it is free, so like it's not surprising that there's not necessarily a whole lot of like content per se in it, but it's a level 5 game on console, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's coming out day and date of when it comes out in Japan, which is really weird and wild.
Yeah, that's wild.
Thanks, Square Enix.
You do very few things right. And I'm still not sure you're doing this 100% right, but but getting it day of is nice. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's that. We're excited for that, obviously.
Yes.
March 26th is Balan Wonder World, which is like, it's another game for your friends at Square Enix, but this is like, I think from a bunch of people who did like Nights into Dreams.
Oh, huh.
Like a bunch of like early, like mid 90s Sega folks, I want to say.
Oh, I remember seeing this.
Yeah. This is coming for PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. That's about all I know about it, though. It's a platformer. That's it. And then there's a Monster Hunter game coming to Switch the same day. Hopefully this one does not have racist Chinese jokes in it.
Oh, God, what?
That's apparently in that Monster Hunter movie. And that got the movie pulled in China real quick.
Oh, I bet.
Real quick.
Jesus.
Yeah. Not a whole lot scheduled out for April and May right now, at least as of this recording. Again, also, we should make mention we are doing this before the Game Awards, which is going to have a bunch of announcements and stuff where we're going to miss out on like all that sort of stuff. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if anything big or is interesting happens, we'll just talk about next week.
Yep.
April 9th, Guilty Gear Strive coming out to PC, PS4, and PS5. The new Guilty Gear game that looks just ridiculously amazing.
I mean, Guilty Gear's good, man. Or at least it was good for a while, and then it got super not good. And so I'm hoping that it's gonna go back to being good.
Well, it's that the visual style they have for that game is just bonkers.
Yeah.
Like the last Guilty Gear game they did basically was like the impetus of this, and then they just really improved upon it with this game, and it's just like this game looks amazing visually. Like holy crap, it's ridiculous. One of the Nier remakes is coming out on April 23rd, which the title of the game is so long that it does not fit in this Wikipedia box.
That's hilarious. What is that?
That's Yoko Taro being Yoko Taro. That's all I'm assuming. I don't even know. It's one of the Nier remakes. Like there's like 2 versions of Nier that they made.
Yes.
One was like for the 360 and one was like PS3. I don't know.
That is correct.
All my Nier knowledge comes from Final Fantasy 14, where you just get to go around to Nier Automata places, and that's it.
Well, you are correct. There was one on PS3 and one on 360, and I don't remember which one this one
One's
was.
about a dad. I don't know. That's all I know. All I've consumed is just like hearsay and just other people talking about it. I'm just like, yep, okay,
Okay, hold on. So this is Nier Replicant?
Excuse me, version 1.22474487139 ...
Oh my god. Okay, so this was the PS3 version that had the younger guy.
So is this the one that didn't come out over here?
Yes.
Huh. Okay. That's all I got to say about that.
What a title.
It's a good title. I'll give it that.
Is it?
Yes. It's good because it's dumb.
I mean, I gave it over 2 pretty bad for that.
Do what?
I gave 358 over 2 pretty bad for that.
Yeah,
title.
but that's Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts is just dumb.
It's a dumb.
This is just dumb in the sake of just like it's a long string of numbers for no reason. There's probably a reason, but like to outsiders, it's no reason, and that just makes it funny. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days is just a weird fraction, and you're just like, that seems weird.
Yeah.
Regardless, May 20th, Rune Factory 5 comes out for the Switch. Oh, in Japan, excuse me.
Oh.
When that comes out over here, who knows? Then also Deathloop comes out on May 21st. That is the spy versus spy-esque game, which I think looks really interesting, coming out for PC and PS5. which is another weird thing about the Bethesda acquisition from Microsoft. Or
Yeah.
Microsoft acquiring Bethesda, and now they're like, we're going to honor those deals, so here's one of the last Bethesda games you'll see on the PlayStation 5. And then basically after that, we got a whole butt ton of unscheduled releases because everyone's
Lots of
just
question
like,
marks.
oh no.
Some point, maybe.
Oh yeah, 12 minutes is a game. I want to play that game.
What?
You've seen this. You've seen the trailers, I think. I think the last trailer they did was like, we have Hollywood voice actors for this. It's a game where like you're in like a time loop.
Oh,
Like
yes,
12
yes,
minutes.
yes. I remember that one.
And it seems really cool. What else is there?
William Dafoe's in it. Wild.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Apex Legends is coming to Switch sometimes.
Sometimes.
There you go. Axiom Verge 2. I remember that was a thing. Axiom Verge 1's fun. Braid Anniversary Edition. Someone call up Soulja Boy and tell him that this game's coming out in Q1 next year. So
I'm sure somebody has his number.
Well, he's probably also trying to make another bootleg console, so who knows what Soulja Boy's up to.
Tell him.
The Ultimate Edition of Control comes out in Q1 for the PS5 and Xbox Series X, which is still kind of shady because they're making you pay for that if you didn't buy the one specific version of Control. It's
What?
a little dumb.
That's weird.
Oh, yes, Crossfire X. You'll get caught up in the Crossfire.
Fire.
Which is this the game that had the very bad, slow remix of X Gonna... Yes, this is the...
Yes, it is.
This is the one that had the cover of... The slowed down cover of X Gonna Give It To You in a trailer, and I was just like, my mind was blown.
God, it sucked. Ah!
Look, if they really wanted to market this game, they would do a slowed down cover of the Crossfire theme.
It's true, they would. That would be the smart thing to do.
You get caught up in the crossfire. Just perfect.
Perfect. Genius.
Cyberpunk's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. It's a bad game from a bad company.
Yeah. Ugh.
Apparently, there's rumors that might even come out until 2022, so who knows?
Oh, wow.
The third Dark Pictures anthology game will come out presumably next year for all those fancy consoles and PC. There's someone in this game. They showed like a trailer at the end of the first game or the second game. Oh yeah, Ashley Tisdale is in this game.
Why?
Because I don't know, why not?
I guess like does she have anything else to do?
I don't know. I mean, this is the same people who made like Until Dawn, and that had like a bunch of Hollywood people in it, like the dude from Mr. Robot's in that.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's one famous girl that's in it as well. I forget who it is.
Mm.
But regardless, like, yeah, that's not a surprising thing.
That's just funny to me.
Yeah. We should play the second game of that because it's like spooky, haunted Salem witch trials kind of dealio.
Ooh.
And it's not like the first game where there's potentially a shark
Oh, no. We're not playing that.
because it was on a ghost ship.
Oh, no.
But the other one, but like they have like good multiplayer stuff in these games now because like they learned from Until Dawn of like, oh, people play this multiplayer and stuff, like they'll pass control around. So like the multiplayer in these is like if you're doing it online, you will play different characters at the same time and experience different stories.
Oh.
So like it's a really interesting idea that they've come out with these. So
Okay. I mean, I'm interested.
yeah, spooky.
Spooky.
Let's see here.
I love that
Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires.
I was going to say, I love that Dirt 5 is coming out for the Stadia.
Yeah, because Dirt 5's out everywhere else.
It's just funny. Yeah.
Everyone's
Dynasty
really
Warriors-
waiting for that Stadia release of Dirt 5.
I don't like the Empires versions of them very much.
I don't know what the difference is. Is it like more like tactical?
Yeah, it's not straight up Muso.
That makes sense.
I don't like it as much. Oh man, EDF 6.
Someone call King and Cowran. They'll be happy about that.
About
Or they'll
Dynasty
probably be
Warriors or
EDF. They'll be marketing it probably.
I was really big into EDF for a while.
I can't play EDF.
I understand why you can't. I mean,
No.
that would basically be like making me shoot a bunch of sharks.
Yeah, the idea of EDF is very interesting and kind of really goofy in theory that like I would probably be into if the content was different.
Yeah.
But there's 2 EDF games coming out next year. One for Switch and PS4 and the other for Unknown because that's the mainline 6 game.
Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, Far Cry 6.
That's still okay.
That's a game that's coming
Forgot.
out. Shrug shoulders
I forgot that existed.
for everything, essentially. What is Ghost Runner? It is a cyberpunk game. Okay. I've probably seen a trailer of that at some point. I just don't remember it.
Probably.
Ghostwire Tokyo is the Shinji Mikami game, right? Right? Right?
Yes.
Yes. That is coming out, who knows, but also is another Bethesda game coming to the PS5. One of the last Bethesda games coming to the PS5, apparently.
Yep.
There's that God of War sequel that they teased, I think, at the end of like one of the PS5 reveal stuff, which has nothing tied to it. So
Yeah,
who knows
I
if
don't.
that comes out this year or next
I would
year.
say I doubt that comes out 2021.
Gotham Knights is the Batman game.
The Batman.
It's one of the Batman games, but not necessarily Batman.
I
Or
remember.
like,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're fine.
I was gonna go ahead to the next game because I'm less interested in Batman and more interested in the game that's right after it.
I remember this game, yes.
It looked really cool.
Uh,
Goodbye Volcano High.
Yeah. I don't remember where they showed that off at, but yeah, I remember being very interested in that. That also has no date to it. Coming to PC, PS4, PS5, and all that sort of stuff. The Good Life is potentially also coming out sometime next year. That's the next Swery game.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This says Q3, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
Of course,
I don't
Grand
think-
Theft Auto 5 coming to the current gen consoles next year sometime, because
Why not? I guess.
Rockstar makes a lot of money off that game, so why not just make more money off that game on newer consoles?
It's insane. It's insane.
It is. Gran Turismo 7 may come out next year, but it's a Gran Turismo game, so don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it.
Grounded, I think, is in early access currently, so like that's kind of out. That's the Obsidian game where it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of technically out, but it's in early access, so not officially out. The Gunk,
The gunk.
the greatest name for a new game coming potentially sometime next year for Windows and PC or Windows and Xbox Series X. This is from the SteamWorld Dig people, I think. But also this game's called The Gunk, and that's
The
rules.
Gunk. I like that title.
Halo Infinite just got delayed till fall 2021, like an hour before we started recording.
Oh my god.
So that's potentially where that's going to slide in for
Oof.
PC and the Xbox brand of consoles. Man, poor Halo.
Poor Halo.
It's been rough. I'm curious to see if they'll like if fall 2021 is going to be the thing and it doesn't get pushed back further or whatnot. If like, because there was rumors they were going to like piecemeal this game out
Mm-hmm.
because of delays and stuff. Like if they'll be like, here's a multiplayer thing in like the summer or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
Considering how long this game's been delayed, man. The Xbox Series X consoles did not need a year delay of Halo.
Nope, they did not.
But they seem to be doing all right. That Game Pass stuff is working really well for them. So, but
Yeah.
hoofa doofa.
Yikes.
What else is there? There's that Harry Potter game, which I still feel very bad for the developers of that game,
I feel so bad for them.
which
Like,
is coming out
it's-
to everything
it's-
except Switch.
Not their fault at all. That
No.
the creator of that sucks so bad.
Yeah, it is. It's a bummer for them.
Yeah.
The sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn coming potentially next year to PS4, PS5. I wonder if that PS4 version just gets cut entirely.
I wonder.
Yeah. Let's see here. It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right. Is It Takes Two the Joseph Ferris game?
Is it?
I want to say it's being published by EA, so like that leads credence to it.
Mm-hmm.
It might be.
Hmm.
I'd assume we'll see more about that game at the Game Awards because that dude's showing up.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what else is interesting here. Of course, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 for PC and Switch.
Yep.
I think that's supposed to come out like early next year at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a very good game if you haven't played it yet, and
Yes.
you have only Windows or Nintendo Switch. You should get it.
I do not remember there being a Lord of the Rings Gollum game supposedly coming to everything.
Yeah, I did not remember that either.
I don't. Yeah, that's a mystery to me. Don't hover over Maneater.
I'll say that's a
That's the
shame.
shark game. Yeah. The Avengers game's coming to current gen consoles, which Square Enix is gonna hope and pray that game makes more money on current gen consoles than it did on previous gen consoles. Because oh my god, they lost so much money on that game.
Oh, did they?
It did not sell well.
Oof. I bet.
Because I think a lot of people were like, yeah, this game's not that great. And just like,
Mm.
it did not hit that mainstream Avengers appeal that they were really anticipating.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Oofa doofa.
oofa doofa.
The remasters of the Mass Effect trilogy coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC next year. Curious to see how those look and what they do to Mass Effect 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I just played through 2 and 3 just recently, so I'm not really like diving or chomping at the bit to really
Play it again.
play it again, yeah. Especially because Mass Effect 3 is not that great of a game.
That's what you said.
Yep. Let's see here. Oh, right, yeah. Neo: The World Ends With You coming to Switch and PS4. The World Ends With You sequel.
Yep.
You're a fan of The World Ends With You, or at least you're
Okay.
someone who enjoyed that game.
Okay, let me talk about that for a second because we never got to talk about it on the podcast.
Right.
I very much enjoyed it when I played it on the DS.
Mhm.
I did not like it going back to it.
I didn't think the Switch version was good in general, so like I think that could have also just hampered it.
I mean, I just don't think that the story was as good as I remember it being either.
That's totally fair as well. Like, but I think one of the common complaints for that Switch version is that like it just was a bad version of that game.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it could have also been a thing where like, hey, this doesn't really hold up, and 10 years later.
Yeah, I think it was very novel at the time. And so like it was exciting and new and like the art style is really, really cool. But I just don't think that it aged well at all in terms of like what it tries to do.
Yeah.
Also, like it's just so annoying to play through at times.
I would be curious to see how they change up the gameplay for that game since it's coming to PS4 as well,
Yeah.
or what they do to it. Of course, a lot of Tetsuya Nomura character art in that game, that new one. Which of course. And there's also that anime of the original game coming next year as well, so I wonder if that will change people's opinions on any of this at all or whatnot.
I don't know.
So we'll wait and see on that. No More Heroes 3. That might come out next year on the Switch.
Possibly.
Who knows?
I really liked the first No More Heroes. I
I
haven't
have-
played any since.
I haven't played any of them, so
Oh man. Yeah, I really, really did like the first one. Like I said, I haven't played it since it came out, but I did enjoy playing it.
the Phantasy Star Online 2 expansion / remake question mark comes out next year for various systems depending on where you live. Because if you're in North America, it's only PC and Xbox platforms, but if you're in Japan, it's PC, Switch, and PS4.
Weird.
Yeah, because Microsoft gobbled up those exclusivity rights.
Oh, right.
Let's see what else is there. They're making another Postal game. Why?
Why?
That's a great question. Psychonauts 2 may come out next year for a whole bunch of stuff.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 for PC. That game is already out for consoles at the moment. Presumably a good sequel to a good game. The Ratchet and Clank game, not Clack.
Black.
Ratchet and Clank game that everyone thought would be a PS5 launch title, but then just wasn't.
Yep.
Will come out sometime in the first half of next year, presumably.
I assumed that they thought it would be, and then things just happened. They're like, well, never mind.
Yeah, I would assume that's probably also the case. Resident Evil Village, or also Resident Evil 8,
Yep.
sometime next year with our boy beefy Chris Redfield.
Freaking brick wall, man.
Villain Chris Redfield, maybe.
Maybe? Question mark? Yeah, I can't play first person Resident Evil games, so I can't do it.
Sometime in Q1 of next year for Switch and PS4, Root Film.
Yeah.
Something to be excited for.
Yes, I agree.
Let's see what else there is. What else is there? The SMT3 Nocturne remaster.
Heck yeah.
I've heard a lot of bad things about that remaster.
Oh no, why?
I don't know. Like I remember like a lot. Like it got patched quite a few times in Japan. Just like people weren't that happy with it.
Oh, that sucks.
Then also SMT5 might come out.
Maybe.
It says Q1, but again, like you said,
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
Skatebird.
Is that the one where you skateboard as
you're
a
a
bird?
skateboarding bird. Yes.
All right, cool. They named it properly.
Exactly. I've heard the game's actually not that good. Just unfortunate, but it's also early, early builds of it. So,
I like that's called sports category.
Sports category.
Yeah, it's under sports. Skatebird is.
Oh yeah, it's a sports game technically.
I mean, it's just funny to me.
Extreme sports. I'm excited that they're putting out the Stanley Parable again. I don't know how well that game's going to age in terms of its humor and everything, especially because I've already played it. But like more people should have played that game. That game was fun when it came out. That's potentially coming to PC and consoles sometime. Who knows? Steins Gate Zero Elite, a game Al will not be playing.
Nope.
Because you've already played Steins Gate Zero, and you do not like the anime art style for those games. So
I do not, especially man, that original art style is beautiful. So I feel like I did myself an injustice by playing the Elite version of Steins Gate. Still a good game though.
Yeah. Temtem comes out for Switch and Xbox. I think it just came out for PS5, maybe as early access today.
Oh wow.
That is the Pokemon MMO ripoff. If you were unaware. Rainbow Six Quarantine. What a perfect name.
Yep.
They didn't get lucky with that one.
Nope.
That's coming out sometime next year for PS4, Xbox, and PC. 1,000 Vampire the Masquerade games coming out apparently next year.
Oh my god, why?
So many. I think that's basically it. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Let's head over to the other list, which is games that are in development that no one has any idea when they will come out. And we'll discuss.
This is a dynamic list.
Yes, it is. Maybe
we
these
never satisfy particular standards of completeness.
It's true. They have some 2022 games, like all these games that are listed for 2022 games, like that Suicide Squad game. That's the next like big Rocksteady game. I forgot that was the Rocksteady game. The other one is just like, oh, we made a Batman game.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of these games. What about this untitled Avatar game? Totally coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I think our first big question of here is the question we've asked ourselves like the past 2 to 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Bayonetta 3.
Yep.
Does Bayonetta 3 finally come out in 2021? Like, it has to at this point, right?
I mean, I feel like if it doesn't come out this year, then like we can just write it off.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong. Like I think it may have came out this year if, you know, the world didn't become the way the world is.
Right.
But like they've not talked about that game in the slightest.
Since they showed like just the art for it. Like
right.
We
Since
got a title.
That Game Awards reveal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am inclined to say that like that's in some kind of development.
I think we are like you said, like we're kind of in the mode of it comes out this year or it's not coming out at all.
Yeah.
Or we finally get like some kind of understanding of like what's happened with that game.
Right.
Speaking of games in the same boat, Beyond Good and Evil 2, I'm going to go ahead and just put no.
Yeah, same.
Because again, I just don't think that game's ever coming out.
No, I don't either.
What else is here?
Untitled BioShock game. What?
Who knows?
We don't need another BioShock.
Diablo 4. that was announced at BlizzCon last year, which does not seem like last year. That seems like 5 years ago.
Right.
The controversial BlizzCon of 2019. This could probably come out next year.
Yeah, it's possible.
Weren't they doing a mobile Diablo game that made everyone so mad? And then that's never came out. The Untitled Dragon Age game is literally being shown off apparently at the Game Awards, so we will presumably have more information about that. But this is also coming in the light of like a couple of big time names at BioWare are leaving.
Yeah.
This past in the past 2 weeks, so I don't bet that game's going to be doing great considering what BioWare has done over the last 5 years.
Right.
Between Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem. So
Ooh.
Dying Light 2 I could see being a game comes out this year.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, which if you do not know is the next Miyazaki game, the dude behind the Souls games and all that sort of stuff. Also the game being written by George R.R. Martin. Another game another game they announced and have not talked about in the slightest since then. I don't think this game comes out in 2021.
No, I don't either.
Elder Scrolls 6, definitely, that's a big no.
I was saying, speaking of games that aren't coming out in 2021, Elder Scrolls 6.
That game is the one where like Bethesda's making the space game first, and then they're doing this. I think that's the case. So like, this is definitely not a thing that's coming. Everwild is the Rare game, yes. Yeah. I remember vaguely what it is. Maybe it was a Rare game. That's all I can remember. I remember like there was like you are controlling characters, like little monsters, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that comes out. I don't know. I have no idea. Let's talk about, of course, another big game on this list, Final Fantasy 16.
Yep.
Now, I think if you were looking at this through the lens of like if it's Final Fantasy and it's like, you know, any other team out there, it might not. It would be an easy like that's not coming out this year.
Yeah.
But the news that like, you know, it's been in development for a while, it's being kind of indirectly led by Yoshi P, the director behind Final Fantasy 14, the dude who basically brought that game back around, and like a whole bunch of the team from the Final Fantasy 14 are working on this game. I think I would not be surprised if this game came out late next year.
I could see that, and honestly, I can also see this happening because Square knows at this point that they have such a terrible reputation behind like Final Fantasy games, Kingdom Hearts games, and that kind of thing, that they would really want to try and get something out sooner rather than later, as opposed to like dealing with the same development cycle that they've been in for so long.
They don't want to have to go do another stream where they're like, all right, guys, we are canceling all the DLC for this game.
I quit.
The one we are doing is the last one. Also, I am leaving the company.
Mm-hmm.
That still might be one of the most bonkers things we ever watched.
I agree with you. Like seeing a man announce that he is quitting the company and then they're just like, by the way, we're canceling all this. Like, holy crap, that was bad. But I mean, Square has to know at this point that their reputation is not good in terms of this kind of thing. The only
thing they have good going right now is 14.
Right. And I don't know.
Which presumably there's going to be a new 14 expansion next year.
Oh, wow.
So potentially they'll have that in their back pocket. But again, like I wouldn't be surprised if this game comes out next year, very late. But also I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 2022 game. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be in development for years and years.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can afford that.
Which I think is why they brought in the team they did for this game.
Right. They're like, all right, Nomura, you sit over here.
Go into your Kingdom Hearts hole.
Here's your crayons. Have fun. I don't know why he got crayons, but I could see if it comes out that it's a very, very late like winter game. I don't think it's completely out of reach. But I think that's partially because Square knows that there's a lot of gambling on this game at this point.
Yeah. Forza Motorsport for next gen or the current gen consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PC. From what I am aware of, one of that they are not going to put out a mainline Forza game next year, but a Forza Horizon sequel instead.
Oh, whoa.
Which would be them skipping a mainline Forza game, which is like the first time they've done that in years. So that's the prevailing rumor I've heard. Don't know how true that's going to be or whatnot, but I would assume there's going to be a Forza game of some sort on the Series X next year, because good God, that console needs games.
Yep, sure does.
There's the Hollow Knight sequel. I could see that potentially coming out next year.
Yeah, I could too.
And then there's the Breath of the Wild sequel.
Yep. I initially thought that this would come out this year.
Yeah, because our idea about this was like, this was going to be the big thing Nintendo puts up against the next generation consoles.
Right. And they already had the assets, so it's a matter of just putting it together. But then the world started burning down, and that didn't happen. And instead we got Age of Calamity, which I mentioned to you recently that the reason that we got that, because which they won't know that I said this recently.
You'll learn about this in the
that,
future.
Yeah. The reason that we got this is because Breath of the Wild 2 was not ready. We got Age of Calamity because of that, in my opinion.
And also the fact, like, we have not heard a lick about this game since its reveal at E3 2019, which again feels like 5 years ago.
That's it. It feels like 5 years ago. We had that trailer, which, I mean, a trailer is more than like the Bayonetta title card or the Metroid title card.
Right. It is like, so here are different looks for these characters. Here is potential plot points. Get ready.
Yeah.
But
I think that it is possible that it happens next year. It just depends on how badly the pandemic affected development.
Do you think it's possible, like, this is something I've heard or like, postulated, that they save it for the Switch upgrade that's been rumored?
I don't think so.
Do you think they have to put this game out this year?
In terms of why? Because
what else do they have?
Yes. Okay. That is correct. Yeah, I mean, it's like we were saying earlier, though. Like, this was what I thought they would put up against the new consoles, and especially because the new consoles are actually going to have some stuff coming out next year.
That the Switch is going to eventually start losing momentum.
Yeah, they've got to do something. And I mean, they have all the assets. It's not like they're having to build it from the ground up.
Right.
So, like, it's just a matter of making it work and actually getting a story together. And, maybe that's the holdup. I don't know. But
yeah, again, it's one of those things we have no idea because they have not talked about this game in a year and a half. So
they really do need to get it out in 2021, I think, to try and pick up speed again.
Maybe this is one of the things that's shown off at the Game Awards. It's possible. We don't know at this time as we were recording this. By the time you're listening to this, maybe there's like, they put out a date and everything. But as of this, like, I think this is another make or break thing where, like, they kind of have to put this out next year.
Yeah.
Oh, there's apparently a Mass Effect game they're also making. That's a new one, which I don't see that really being a thing right now.
No.
Basically, the same things we talked about with that Dragon Age game apply here. Metroid Prime 4. This is a game that is the epitome of being in development hell throughout the course.
See Bayonetta 3.
But at least they have come out and said more information about Metroid Prime 4 than they have about Bayonetta 3.
That's
because
true.
They literally came out and said, hey, we are completely changing the development team on this because everything is not working, so we have to switch things up to make this game work. And that was...
That's bad.
Was that last year or like the year before? It was recent enough, though, that they were like, we're completely switching things up. And then did not talk about this game again. Which, if you're basically coming out and saying, hey, we got to switch everything up and redo it, you're not going to talk about this game for a while.
January 2019. Yep.
Again, I'm going to say this is a make or break
Yep.
release.
Yep.
Where you kind of have to put this game out at some point.
Yep.
And the more you wait, the more it's just not going to end well for you.
Correct.
Let's see. Nirvana is the Valhalla sequel. I think they just announced that that game is infinitely delayed because of everything going on.
Right.
I forgot new Pokemon Snap was a thing. I can see that coming out next year though.
Yeah, I can too.
It's cool. Pokemon Snap's a neat thing. Overwatch 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they just randomly throw this out there, or also they just make this an expansion just for Overwatch and then just be like, hey, Overwatch is on current gen consoles now.
Yeah.
And just ditch the whole twos thing. Because a whole lot of this game is built on of you import all your stuff from Overwatch 1 into it and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got some new things here and there, but what if you just called it Overwatch and just added all that stuff in as a current gen expansion, and then for everyone else playing it on PC and the last gen, you're just here's an expansion for Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be the easy way to do that.
It makes sense.
But again, it is a thing that Blizzard has not talked about since BlizzCon last year, so who knows what's going on with that.
Oof.
Pokemon Unite. You wanted to play Pokemon as a MOBA?
Nope.
Well, okay, that might come out next year. I don't know what. I think what is Project Awakening is a thing by Psy Games, which I'm guessing means it's a Grand Blue Fantasy thing.
Yeah.
That's about all I know about that. Project Athea, they just literally talked about this yesterday. What did they say about it? I don't remember is the thing.
I didn't see it.
Let me.
I also had a crazy yesterday though, so.
Yeah, that's true. They were talking about something with it. Was this the only thing they'd said about it?
What?
So they're essentially this is a game that that Square Enix is making.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the thing they came out of they talked about yesterday was that it's going to be a PS5 console exclusive for 2 years.
Okay.
So I guess that's the new. I thought there was something else they said about this game, but apparently it's just, hey, it's going to be a console exclusive for 2 years. But there's nothing else that they're talking about with this game. The 007 game that the Hitman folks are making, I don't think that comes out next year because Hitman 3 is coming out next year. So
right.
I would say this is going to be far down the line, but I'm very excited for this. It feels like the most perfect marriage of a development team in a multimedia franchise in a good long time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It totally makes sense. But yeah, that's not coming out next year. Maybe for a couple of years, really. Oh yeah, Quake Champions, that was a game.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, the game's out.
Yeah, I still forgot about it.
Yeah, because no one played it. I suppose they are making a Saints Row game, aren't they?
Are they?
Apparently, that's what it says on here.
That's what it says, but I didn't know that.
Let's take a look here at this franchise page. Because they put out those remasters of 3 and 4. Apparently, THQ Nordic's financial report released in August 2019 stated that a new Saints Row title has been in development at Volition.
Oh, okay.
I would play a new Saints Row game. I just don't know how you do a new Saints Row game after the events of 4.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of
do you just reboot the franchise at this point?
You'd probably have to.
Yeah.
I'd play it with you.
Those games are good. Those games are real dumb and good.
Again,
another thing that I'm like, oh right, they're making a skate game.
Yeah, I remember that weird press conference thing that they were just like, yeah, we're here, we're making it, goodbye.
What a weird thing.
It was so weird.
I hope that game's good.
I hope so, for your sake.
For a lot of people's sake.
Well, yeah, but you're the one that I care about. No offense, everybody else.
They're apparently making another Sonic game, which hopefully eventually they let the dude from the Yakuza team who wants to make a Sonic game make a Sonic game.
Let him make Sonic.
That's probably not coming out next year. Neither is Skate.
Nah.
Sports Story, which is the sequel to Golf Story for the Switch, where you just play more sports. That could come out next year. Yeah. Star Citizen. I don't believe that's ever going to come out. That's just a scam.
Yeah.
That's just a money laundering scheme. Can't fool me.
Yeah, that's funny.
Starfield is the Space Bethesda game. I don't think that's coming out next year.
No.
The Steins Gate sequel.
Huh.
So this says that this is supposed to be released after Anonymous Code, which is coming out in late 2021. So I'm guessing this is not coming out next year.
Yeah, I'd say probably 2022.
But I would be very curious to see what a new Steins ? Game is.
Yeah, same. Also, it's weird to say 2022.
Yes.
Good Lord. But yeah, I'd be interested in that, especially since you got me into the series. Thank you very much.
Of course. The new Tales of game.
Yeah.
Apparently that's supposed to come out this year, but then was delayed indefinitely, so that could come out next year potentially.
It could.
It's just kind of we don't know what we're doing with this.
Yeah, I wouldn't completely count it out yet.
I don't remember what the Untitled Bungie game is.
I don't either.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what the Untitled Firaxis game is. I don't know what the Untitled Ghost Story game is. That's the Ken Levine studio?
Oh, weird.
Okay. I do know Kojima's making a new game, but no one's heard anything about it, obviously. He was just like, yeah, we're making a new game now. The big prevailing rumor is that he's making a spiritual successor to PT Silent Hills. But that's the rumor. Again, after playing Death Stranding, I would still be curious to see what a new Kojima game is, just because why not? But it's not like I'm going to rush out and get it after playing Death Stranding.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, The Wolf Among Us 2 is a thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they'll come out. Who knows?
I love that there's just these unknown status games where there's a lot of games that are on that upper list that were unknown status.
Yeah. So apparently just this week, the Twitter for Dead Island 2 resurfaced and was like, hey, we're still making this game.
Why are you... Okay.
So apparently that's a thing. Agent's not coming out. You can remove this from this list.
Yeah, no kidding.
Deep Down's not coming out. You can remove this from this list. It literally, you hover over the...
It says canceled.
Get it off this list. What are you doing?
I mean, I can do that if you want me to. I do the things.
You do. I don't know what Elysian Shadows is. Did they announce Pikmin 4 at some point? Because I don't remember it. They just put out Pikmin 3. Again.
It says September 2015. But
I don't remember that at all. But sure, I don't know. Did that Pikmin 3 game do well?
I don't know. Let's see if I can find an answer to that.
You do that while I'll talk about Tekken Cross Street Fighter, which is another game that's never coming out. You can remove it from this list. Neither is Two Worlds 3. Actually, I don't know. That was later. And then Wild, the Michelle Ancel game that is about being animals in the wild. That game got announced at Gamescom in 2014, and then they never talked about it again. So presumably, like the other Michelle Ancel game, that's probably never coming out. It's also never coming out.
Nintendo Switch version of Pikmin was the best-selling retail game during its first week of release in Japan with 171,349 copies sold physically.
I mean, that's okay.
It's okay.
But it's not like, oh god, we got to get Pikmin 4 on the market right now.
Yeah, it's not like gangbusters, but it's not terrible.
Again, that's putting a game out in the middle of a pandemic, so I feel like numbers are skewed.
Yeah.
So, who knows, really?
Not I, said the owl.
Not I, not you. You want to talk about anime?
Yeah.
Let's talk about some anime coming out next year.
I don't have a list for this.
I have a list for this. I'll tell you about some animes that are coming out. You
Okay.
ready to watch Attack on Titan the last season, which is actually out now, so that doesn't count.
Nope. No to both things. Like, it doesn't count, and also I don't want to watch it.
Let's see if there's anything here that either of us would be into. Laid Back Camp Season 2, I'm excited to see that. Gotta get your cozy camping show on. A lot of these are just like original stuff that I just don't know, so like I can't say one way or the other. The Horimiya adaptation, I'm interested in seeing that. Season 2 of Dr. Stone, I'd be interested in seeing that. Not a whole lot for you, I apologize.
It's okay.
For that.
I can't remember
Yes.
what
The first Sailor Moon Eternal movie comes out next year.
Oh.
In January. I still am at the mindset that I will believe it when I see it.
Yep.
And then apparently that the last Evangelion movie is supposed to come out next year.
Oh my god.
Again, I will believe it when I see it. And then the
Oh my
second Sailor
God.
Moon Eternal movie comes out like in February. I'll believe it when I see it. In spring, we have My Hero Academia Season 5, which I still have not watched Season 4, so I am a smidge behind.
Yeah, I haven't watched it since like 1 or 2. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Been a while.
God, I knew you were gonna do it when I said it. I knew you were gonna do it.
You just gotta be on your toes.
Yep.
Nothing else in here, but also like this isn't the full slate of like spring stuff, so who knows what else they're gonna put out at some point. Oh, is Farewell My Dear Kramer a movie? That's interesting. Ikeon's doing the themes for that movie.
Oh, neat.
That manga is pretty good. It's like about girls soccer. I think it's written by the person who wrote Yurlai in April, which is that's a different contrasted stories you're making there. Like very intense drama to sports drama. Going in some different directions. Let's go to TBA and see what's in the vaporware of anime.
Is The World Ends With You coming out?
That's spring, I think, but it wasn't on there. Yeah,
Okay.
they're making a Color Cross Malice anime. That is a thing.
Did I know that?
I believe I told
know
you that
was
at some
happening?
point because I remember the announcement of that. And being like,
'cause that's
hey, there's a Color Cross Malice anime coming out.
That's real exciting.
Love is War Season 3 sometime next year.
Nice.
I still didn't watch Season 2, so.
It's on Funimation. Watch it. You have
I
my account.
know.
It's real good. It's
I'm
really
also just
good.
bad at watching anime. Love Life Superstar. Maybe
That's next
maybe
year?
sometime next year. It's just TBA.
Yeah.
Megalobox Season 2. I'm very excited for that.
I bet you are.
Punch, punch, punch. Yep, there you go. Punch, punch, punch.
Yep.
Shenmue the animation. How many episodes does Ryu get to go around and ask about sailors? How many times did you go hang out with Tom in his hot dog cart? That's if I was making that anime, I would just make it in the dumbest way possible. Just make it like that. Just make it the game experience of just like, oh, well, I gotta sit in front of this this store until it opens at like 5 o'clock in the evening. I also just sit here and stare at my watch for the whole episode.
Basically, like how they did some of the Persona 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And just made Yu Narukami into like the weirdest gremlin in the world. And I was
Exactly.
like, yeah, I was into that.
Vlad Love is the anime that Bloody is attached to, which has
Okay.
gone through a membership change apparently.
Oh,
It's now
have they?
4 members instead of 5.
Oh.
I think like 3 people left, and then they got 2 new ones or something like that.
Oh, were they the dancers?
I
or-
don't know. I know King's
Yikes.
still there, but that's about it. There is a sequel to Zombieland Saga, which I would be interested in seeing at some point whenever it comes out. Also, some of these are like, this is airing in 2020. It's like, There's a Blade Runner anime?
What?
So 13 episodes airing in 2021. I know they made like the OVAs to coincide with the last movie, but wasn't aware of that. Fruits Basket is supposed to end in 2021 at some point.
Oh, wow.
Oh yes. What's it called? My Life as a Villain is season 2.
Yay!
That'll come out at some point because I remember they announced that at the end of that season.
Yep, they sure
That show's
did.
fun.
That show's very fun.
What else do we got here? Oh no, we're running out. Oh no. Here's a bunch of movies. What do you got movie wise? You got anything that I'd be like, oh gosh, I gotta go to the theater, to the cinema? Oh, there's a Rune anime or a movie. I would see that. There's a laid back camp movie. Apparently, they're making an anime movie of To the Moon, the video game.
Weird.
I mean, I would watch that. That game's real good, but that's also like, oh, huh? I mean, I don't know how long that's been in like development or whatnot, so who knows? There's no chance. There's no confirmation like, oh, this is coming out this year or that year or blah 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 blah. As you know, everyone says, blah 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 blah
Blah blah blah blah blah blah blah.
Here's some OVAs. Are any of them that I would want to talk about? Who knows? I'm just going to keep scrolling through them, which is not a good sign.
I think Love is Hard for an Otaku is getting a new OVA next year. I think.
Wouldn't
I could be wrong on that.
surprise me. I feel like I remember hearing that, but I don't know. Not to say you're wrong or anything, but
No, I mean.
oh right, I don't know why this is under anime, but the that new CG Resident Evil Netflix series.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
Is this an OVA? That's weird. I thought it was a series. I don't remember what the actual English of it's called, but it's like the dude who's a house husband who's like a former Yakuza man.
Oh yeah, that one. I know what you're talking
There's like
about.
a live action series of it airing now, and then they're doing an anime of it. I think next year. That manga is good.
Is
it's real good. There's a Pacific Rim OVA.
The Way of the House Husband.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
Anytime.
Oh, there's a Cyberpunk OVA happening. Cool. Oh, it's made by Studio Trigger too. Oh man, that's like a combination of two things I don't like. Oh boy. I scrolled to the bottom of that list, and that's it. Closing that browser tab. I think that's it. There's probably stuff we didn't remember or talk about, and that's just the way it goes. Like I said, there's gonna be announcements happening Thursday when you've already heard about them that we're not gonna be able to talk about because we don't know about them because we're recording this on Tuesday.
Yep.
But if anything big happens, we'll talk about it next week.
Yes.
But that's gonna wrap this episode up.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff will happen next year, presumably.
Maybe.
Who knows, really? So we'll look forward to all that coming out next year and the years beyond. But for now, if you'd like more from us, go to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup and Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you want more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. You can buy our books, One Shining Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Live, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza. Get access to unedited versions of this here podcast early. Bonus episodes. All sorts of fun goodness.
Yay.
Next week, it's time to celebrate Christmas a week early.
Oh, man.
But that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Everybody send healing wishes to Loki Man.
It's true. The Loki Man had to go through some surgery. He's toughing it out because he's a tough dude.
It's true.
He just has to wear a cone of shame, and he is not happy about it.
He's not happy, so please send him good vibes.
Good vibes,
He'd
positive affirmations.
Tell Loki he is a good boy.
Tell Loki he's a good criminal. So yeah, next week we'll have our annual Christmas episode where we have a Christmas themed thingy to talk about, and it's going to be something because I have not watched that.
Nope, same.
Oh boy, so this is going to be real interesting. So look forward to that next week.
Yay!